Okay, hi guys. So we have been talking about measuring things in a different type of unit lately. We've been looking at measuring in Celsius for degrees, and today we're actually going to be starting to measure distance with a new type of unit. That is going to be called a centimeter. Here's a centimeter. Before, we've been measuring in inches, like a couple months ago. We used our rulers to measure things in inches. And an inch is about this long, as you can see here. You can't see the 0, that's just where it starts on this end. But this would be 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, and so forth. So this is an inch ruler. We're not measuring in inches today. We're going to be measuring in centimeters. Now this is how you spell centimeters. And for reference, this tiny little line right here is about the length of a centimeter. And to compare it to an inch, this is an inch right here, and this is a centimeter. So it kind of looks like it's about maybe half of an inch, a little bit less than a half. And the way that we abbreviate centimeters is just with a C and an M. So CM stands for centimeters. So let's start out today by grabbing my tape measure. This is called just like a tape measure. And we're gonna flip to the centimeter side. So this side shows inches, and this side shows inches on the top and centimeters on the bottom. So that's kind of confusing. If you look closely, you can see that 1 up here stands for an inch, but down here, where the 1 is, that's like 2 centimeters, more than 2 centimeters. So I have a few different things that we're going to measure today. First, I have something that I used to play with in my childhood. This is Samantha. Everyone say hi, Samantha. We're going to measure her shoe, okay? So I'm going to put her down here, and if I were to take my tape measure, let's find the right side. I want to start at where the 0 would be. You can't see 0 on here because it's just a little metal piece. But if I looked at the other end of this, it says 151. That's because this whole thing is 151 centimeters long. So I'm not going to start at the big centimeter number. I need to start at 0. So let's go to her shoe and go about to the top end. I'm going to measure all the way to the bottom. That shows me it's about 8 centimeters long. Her shoe is 8 centimeters long. Okay? Now sometimes when I measure things, it doesn't exactly equal a number on my centimeter measurement here. It might fall in between like 3 and 4. So I'll show you what we can do with that. If I measure her finger, you can see right here that it doesn't go all the way to the 2 mark. It goes a little bit in front of the 2. So the best way to measure that would be to round up to the closest number. Now let's say that we measure her zipper here. Let's see what that is. That goes about halfway between the 4 and the 5. So if it goes halfway between the 4 and the 5, or any number, if it goes halfway, we want to measure it up to the higher number. We'll round it to the higher number, okay? I have another object for us to measure, and this one's really cool. Back when my brothers were young, they used to build model things. Check out this thing that they built. This is called a model airplane. I guess it's a jet. And this guy has a lot of really cool things that we can measure. We can measure its wheels, we can measure its missiles, we can measure its bombs, I don't even know what they are, or anything on here. So let's start by measuring its wings. Let's measure it in centimeters. Okay. Yep. Is this the correct side to start on? Nope. That says 151, so I don't want to use that side. I want to go to where it says the 0, which is invisible, but there's the 2, so we know that this side's the 0. So let's see how long this wing is. Ooh. It looks like it is about 14 centimeters long. See that? 14 right there. This plane is really dirty because it's really old and it's been collecting a lot of dust. Now let's measure from the top of this plane all the way to the back. Here we go. Starting all the way at the top, all the way to the back. If you can see that, that is about halfway between 37 and 38. So what am I going to do if it's halfway between two numbers? Does anybody remember what I said? Ooh, we're gonna round it up to the higher number. So this is about 38 centimeters long, okay? So there we have it. We've measured a couple different things in centimeters. Now the next thing we're gonna talk about is measuring things in another unit, and that is called meters. Now you might say, hey, I spy a word in centimeters. That is this word, and that's correct. There is the word meter in centimeters. And the reason for that is because centi, I don't even know how to say that, stands for 100. So there are 100 centimeters in 1 meter. 100 centimeters in 1 meter. So 1 meter is really big. It's a lot of centimeters. Let's find the 100 mark on my tape measure. I start at 0, go all the way to 100. Ooh, there's 87. Oh, there's 100. Right here. So this is from this hand to this hand. That is 1 meter long. Okay, 1 meter long. Now, I have a special guest with us today, and we're gonna measure him and see how much of him is 1 meter. Okay? So if I can grab the camera. Here we go. And you can come on over here. We are going to measure my brother. Everyone say hi to Joseph.
Hey.
This is Joseph. Now, Joseph, would you like to measure yourself?
Yes.
In meters here.
Okay, let me find where 100 is. 100.
He's going down to the floor and all the way up to about his belly button would be 1 meter. So that's for reference of how much 1 meter is. So he is way more than 1 meter. He might be, that's where his hand was is the 2nd meter. So he's maybe like
170 meters.
100, no, not 100.
Sorry, 170 centimeters.
170 centimeters.
So 1.7 meters.
Ooh, okay. So there's reference for how much a meter is in compared to centimeters. Another way to look at it would be, sorry for that painting, would be if you looked at a door, where the knob is, that's about how much 1 meter is. This might be a shorter door. If I zoom out, from the floor to the doorknob is about 1 meter. That's a good way to remember how much a meter is. Okay, now I have a little assignment for us to do together. We're gonna look at this question and try to answer it. So the question says, what would you measure these items with? Centimeters or meters? So let's look at each of these one at a time. I don't know where my pen went. Here it is. It says, first one's a pencil. What would you use to measure a pencil with? A big meter or a small centimeter? Remember, there are 100 centimeters. Whoop, I have it down here. There's 100 centimeters in 1 meter. What do you guys think? If you said centimeters, you are correct. What about a school bus, a really long school bus? Would we measure that in centimeters or meters? Take a guess. In meters, right? I'm just gonna put a little M to stand for meters. What about a piece of paper? So even this, would we measure that in meters or centimeters? That's in centimeters. How about a pet poodle? That might be a tricky one. I think we would probably measure that if it's a really small poodle, then I guess that would be centimeters. But if it's a really long poodle, then that would probably be meters. So we can do both. How about a spaceship? Well, that's gonna be big, so we're gonna be doing that in meters. What about an elephant? That's also really big, right? So meters again. A chocolate chip cookie. That's pretty small. Let's say centimeters for that one. And last one is LeBron James. Whoa. We know him as being really tall, right? So let's say meters for him. All right. Now what you guys have to do is an assignment on measuring with centimeters and meters. Now the problem is, I don't know if you guys actually have a centimeter measurement or a measuring tool like my tape measure, but in our classroom we had a bunch of rulers that actually have centimeters on them. So if you don't have them, then you can just do part of the assignment that has you estimate if an object is measured in centimeters or meters. But if you do have one, then feel free to measure the different things on the papers in centimeters, okay? So I will see you guys tomorrow.